What is a simple life hack that everybody should know? Put a tiny mirror over the picture of you on your driver's license so, when you hand it to the police, they get confused and arrest themselves instead. Checkmate. Cops hate this one simple trick. Oh my god, you are my long lost twin brother. Haha. He is wanted for many years for multiple robberies. Whoa, wait a minute. Hands up please. If you accidentally have caps lock on, instead of deleting it and starting over, you can highlight the caps and hit shift and F3 to switch it back to lowercase. I know for sure it works in Office, Outlook and our internal system at work, but it's not universal, sadly. I couldn't say where it doesn't work. Alt plus F4 also helps remove the errors. Sometimes changing your pillowcase daily can help with acne. I use a clean t-shirt over my pillow to accomplish the same effect. To add to this, a lot of people wash their face when they get up but not before bed. Washing before you sleep will help keep the pillowcase cleaner and prevent breakouts. You don't need to apply a ton of night cream or anything. Just a medicated pad with salicylic acid will do. Your body will put moisture back on while you sleep and you'll wake up with a less oily face. Do your morning routine and make sure to add moisturizer as needed in the morning instead. Wash your sheets with unscented/sensitive detergent too. The perfumes are sometimes an irritant to the delicate skin on your face. Good advice. I'd just add that moisturizing is important for oily skin types too, as skin that lacks moisture will overproduce oils to compensate. Dry skin types will like a creamer, heavier moisturizer while oily skin types will probably prefer something lighter. And always choose a gentle non-fragranced one. Read the 3 and 4 star reviews for the most reliable information on Amazon items, and 2-star reviews for books. Seeing what people dislike tells much. Try on your favorite to see. If you want to wear something white light in color, wear underwear that matches the color of your skin, not white or light gray. It hides better under white than white does. If you throw a house party where you, as the host, plan on getting quite wasted, start the cleanup while wasted. Trust me, waking up to a clean house when you're hungover is fantastic. Wasted you'll barely remember, and so that you have so much less to worry about in the morning. Hungover me wants to know why wasted me put the cat in the dishwasher. Some mysteries better remain unsolved. To confirm which circuit breaker is associated to an outlet, plug in an old radio and turn the volume up before you flip the circuit breaker. When you're in a group of people and they start laughing, see who looks at each other. People look at the people they feel closest to when laughing. And then there is me, who looks down. I love you too, floor. If you want someone to get more mad, you tell them to calm down. Also, call them champ. Also, call women psycho. They will definitely act more normal immediately. When you're cooking and the recipe calls for onions and garlic, don't put the garlic into the pan until the onion is nearly translucent. Garlic cooks way faster than onions do. If you throw them in at the same time, it won't taste as good / the garlic will burn. It literally takes 30 seconds for minced garlic to cook. Also, if you're a home cook, sharpen your knives often. On the topic of cooking, when a recipe calls for garlic, double the amount it calls for. Ditto for vanilla. Meanwhile, you can cut the sugar in most recipes by 1/3 easily, and sometimes 1/2. That way you're tasting the other ingredients, not just the sugar. Ugh, I hate that I forgot to mention that. Recipes are ridiculously miserly when it comes to garlic. When it comes to baking desserts, I'd say it depends entirely on the recipe. For example, with desserts like panna cotta, I wouldn't mess with the sugar too much, because it can end up tasting like vanilla and fat. I still think it's a good point about the sugar though. You can write 2 F's together and cross them both with the same line. It's super stupid, but you'll look classy as frick. Great trick if you're a teacher or have to write on a whiteboard for some reason. That's so specific I would probably spend more energy looking for an opportunity to use this than I save by doing 2 lines in the F's instead of 1. Does FFS count? Because I use that alert. As soon as you wake up, drink 2 pints of water, about 1 liter. It will wake you up like caffeine and get you pooping in about 30 to 45 minutes, like clockwork. Then when you try to catch the train you gotta pee. I go to the bathroom 30 to 45 minutes later. You have to wake up earlier for that to happen. Then again when I get to work. You don't actually need to keep contact with your family. If a relationship with them causes any anguish, you're allowed to cut them out. Their failures aren't yours. Yeah, this is important. Don't let the overrated idea of being bound by genetics to be solid reasoning to keep toxic people in your life. I haven't talked to my dad's side of the family in almost a decade and have been a much happier person since. There's a reason the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb is the full saying. Relationships you make on your own tend to be stronger than familial bonds. And that's usually because you choose your covenant, whereas you have absolutely no choice in your family members. I haven't talked much to anyone outside of my immediate family in years, and even less so on my mother's side. People need to learn that it's okay to leave your family behind, especially if they're holding you back or asking you to cover up their mistakes. Their problems aren't your problems. Family comes first, they say. Well, what about you? Have you ever put yourself first? When moving house, always set up your bedroom / make the bed first, so when you're exhausted and just had enough you can fall into bed. Nothing worse than being exhausted and having to make the bed before getting into it. Also, if you have time, plan where do you want the furniture / boxes of your stuff in the house. Placing it in the right room straight away helps a lot. If you want to open a glass jar, like jam, pickles, and the lid won't move, place a spoon with the tip under the edge of the lid and pull the spoon upwards. The lid will bulge, and you can open the jar. I gently beat it on the floor. Angle it 45 degrees, so you get a corner. Hit it softly, but hard enough that it jars it loose. Try to open it. Repeat. I've never broken a jar and I've never had problems opening jars. If you fricked up, admit it, unless you are talking to cops. But in most situations just admitting how you were wrong and accepting responsibility is so much easier than trying to blame someone or something else or make up an excuse. When you own the mistake, it puts the onus back on the other person to accept that, be mature and move on. If you try and deny or shift blame, it forces that person to examine those reasons, and if they are BS, come back at you, dragging the process out and leading to unpleasant call-outs and confrontations. If you're in a public restroom having to poop and are using an automatic flushing toilet, put a bit of toilet paper over the motion sensor at the back. This will prevent it from flushing before you're ready, which might scare and or splash you. Also, a tiny bit of paper on the water itself will prevent the splash when you drop your poop. Just remember to take the paper off when you are done to initiate the flush. Mostly applies to the USA. The old Neptune's kiss. Every public bathroom becomes a private bathroom when you start crapping in a urinal. Good one. Seriously? Pay your bills when they arrive, not when they are due. Banks, credit card companies, mortgage lenders, utility services, etc. absolutely love it when people wait until the last minute to pay their bills. When I signed up with my bank, I read the agreement and got the personal banker to concede that yes, they made a lot of money off late fees. They are not alone. The thing is, paying your bills when they arrive doesn't cost you anything extra. If you can get into the habit, you'll always be ahead of the curve. And if something comes up which necessitates you holding off on a bill, you've got a couple weeks to figure it out. It also relieves a considerable amount of stress. It's a bit like homework. Don't put it off until the last minute. Get the assignment done when the teacher gives it to you. I procrastinate absolutely everything in my life except for paying bills. I can't relax until I know that I'm in the clear financially, and they make it so easy now. I get an emerald statement, i.e. transfer money directly from my bank account to the billing company, and I'm done. I don't have to walk to the post office or talk to anybody. It takes 3 minutes. I love technology. Not necessarily a hack per se, but learn some basic knife skills. The amount of time you will save chopping vegetables a few times a week, minimum, for the rest of your life far outweighs the amount of time it takes to learn Plus you can use the extra time to keep the kitchen clean, and that makes everything less stressful while you're cooking and makes the cleanup faster as well. This went in a very different direction than I expected after reading knife skills. If you can maintain eye contact with the checkout lady during the entire transaction, anything you hide on the bottom of your cart is free. I noticed they installed mirrors at the height of the basket now in some places. Guess that was getting to be a big problem. If you use a bidet, you'll never have to worry about running out of TP during a global pandemic. Unless you're a woman. Not drying yourself after a bidet is very uncomfortable. For people with short fingernails, mostly men, push down on the closed end of a soda can top to push up the other side to make it very easy to open. Putting your Oreos in the fridge makes them taste far better than room temperature Oreos. Same with Twinkies. Learned this as a kid when my mom had to put her lunch treats in outside garage freezer so my dad wouldn't eat them in the middle of the night. Don't discuss politics at work unless you know where they stand, and you learn that from just observing, listening to casual conversations. To save time, we in the shower. Why stop there? Waffle stomp. People think waffle stomping is disgusting. I think it's better than picking the turd up and lobbing it across the room into the toilet.